Hey guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about mental illness and some other disorders today. I personally suffer from anxiety and depression like a lot of other people do, especially this year. Like, it's been a wild time. The stress has been really high, and um, especially for my generation, people born in the late 80s, early 90s. Apparently, we're supposed to be one of the most anxious generations of all time. I don't know if that's true. It's just something that I saw anyway. So yeah, we're all going through it. A lot of people who've never had mental illness, a lot of people that never had anxiety, all of a sudden, lately, they're like, what is this feeling? Is this anxiety? I'm not really sure what it is because I've never had it before, but I have all these new physical and mental sensations that I've never encountered before, and I just don't know what's going on. So a lot of people are having anxiety lately. A lot of people are depressed, but that's okay because it's just a part of our chemistry, and it's a part of life, and it's just something that most people go through once in a while. There will be people like my grandfather. He claims he's never had any kind of anxiety, depression, mental illness. He doesn't know what any of that is. He's never had it. So there are some people that are lucky enough to never encounter that. Anyway, I wanted to address this other disorder that not a lot of people have, but not a lot of people have heard of it. It's called agoraphobia. By definition, it's the fear of open spaces. Agora means an open space, a large space. But it's a lot more complex than a fear of open spaces. It can be a fear of being in a situation or a place where you're entrapped and it's hard to exit. Whether you're in an interview, a job interview, and or something, or the doctor's office, or you're in a situation, a social situation where it's like it would be awkward if you're like, hey, I gotta go right now. I don't know why, but I'm panicking. I gotta go. Or it could be you're in a building that it's hard to get out of. There's not an exit nearby, and it's kind of like a maze, like maybe like a hospital or a grocery store that it's not really easy to exit until you walk and have to go through all these steps to finally exit the building. Anyway, it's a very complex disorder like many other mental disorders. You can have a fear of being entrapped, fear of being in open space, but you can also have a fear of just panicking in front of people, or soiling yourself in front of people, vomiting, passing out, fainting in a situation that wouldn't be ideal. Not that that would be ideal in any situation. But yeah, so it's very complex. I personally suffer from agoraphobia, but I also suffer from claustrophobia. So, we had like, it's like I'm afraid of big open spaces, but I'm also afraid of like getting on an elevator. So I like to have like a medium sized room, right? No, that was a joke. But so I kind of discovered, I feel like I was born with anxiety. I remember being 3 years old and having an anxiety attack where my mom would have to take me outside at night to get fresh air because I was having an anxiety attack as a baby, and it's just in my DNA. I've always had it, and I probably always will have it. But this agoraphobia thing, I feel like I've always had a very, very mild version of agoraphobia, but I wasn't stricken with agoraphobia hard until 2014. So, man, I guess like 6 years ago now. One day I just left my apartment, and all of a sudden I was walking down the street, and I froze. I felt like I had to get back to my apartment. I had to get back to a place where I was comfortable. I couldn't go on. Like literally every step that I took, I was thinking about I was gonna pass out and faint, or I was gonna have an anxiety attack. I just couldn't walk anymore, and so I had to run back to my apartment. And ever since that day, it's been very hard for me to leave the house. And I was homebound for a long time. I couldn't leave my house for 2 years. And then I had to move back into my mom's house, and I lived there for 2 years. I didn't leave the house once. And then eventually I met somebody, and they kind of helped me get out of the house. And then it was just one day. I went from being homebound for nearly 4 years to one day. I left with this person, and I got in her car, and we drove 80 miles. And it was really frightening at first. Like I'd say for the first half an hour of the car ride, I was like completely freaked out. I just kept saying, I want to go home, I want to go home, turn around. I was on the verge of crying and just freaking out. And but we made it. We made it 80 miles to, her hometown. And I got out of the car, and it was the most free I've ever felt in my life. I felt like sorry, I'm getting all fucking emotional here and shit, but I felt like, I felt like I had just got out of prison after 4 years. It's like this new sense of freedom. And, but I still struggle with it. I manage it a lot better. I don't think it ever goes away, but I think you get better at managing it. And, still every day, I have to, literally every step I take outside of my house is a struggle. And some days it's easier, some days it's not so much of a struggle. But there are other days where literally every step I take, I have to tell myself, it's okay. Keep walking, keep going, keep moving, keep doing it. And there are people out there who haven't left their home for 20 or 30 years. And they might never leave their home again, and it's really sad. But I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. But you need a reason. You need a reason to get back out there and live life, because living in your house forever is fine and is comfortable, and you're not gonna freak out and have a panic attack or pass out or shit yourself or throw up in front of people. But there's so much more out there, and you need to get out and see the world. There's so many beautiful things and places to see and people to meet and experiences to have that it's worth it, man. It really is worth it. I know that you're really comfortable in your bedroom, and you're not gonna die if you leave, like maybe not today, but you're not gonna have a panic attack, and you're gonna feel fine, and you're not gonna feel sick if you leave the house. Physically ill, you can feel physically ill by leaving the home, by leaving your house. That's how fucked up this disorder is. But dude, you gotta push yourself, man. You gotta have a reason, and take your safety blankets. I know a lot of people have a safety blanket. Mine is, I like to have water. Lots of bottles of water, and my medication. I carry around a bunch of different medications, from Advil to my inhaler because I have asthma, but I also carry around some diazepam, just a benzo, just in case, as a safety blanket. I don't take benzos on a daily basis. In fact, I hardly take them at all. Maybe once every 6 months or something. Only when I really desperately need benzodiazepine do I take it, because I have a problem. I have a past problem with addiction and substance abuse, and I'm not trying to get back on that. And benzos are a really easy thing to fall back into, and they can be terrible. They can kill you. A withdrawal from a benzo can kill you. And I'm not trying to get on that. I'm not trying to scare you away from them. I think they're fine, here and there, but you don't want to be taking benzos every day, because that's just not healthy, in my opinion. So take your safety blankets, and take your safety person or whatever you need, and just try to get out there. Just take little steps, and take it slow or not. I didn't take it slow because that didn't work for me. I tried taking it slow, man. I tried taking it slow for 2 or 3 years, and I wasn't getting anywhere. I would get out, I would get a mile from my house, and then start to freak out in the car. I'd start to lose my mind, you know. And I tell whoever was driving, whether it was my sister or my mom, I'd say, you have to turn the car around, or else I'm gonna freak out, and you don't want to see that. I didn't get violent or anything, but I was just telling them, like, I am so anxious right now that we have to go back home, or else I don't know what's gonna happen. So what worked for me was just jumping in head first. It was just going all the way. And I'm not saying you should do that, because that could not work for you. That could go south very quickly. But it did work for me. I mean, I was with somebody else. I wasn't alone. I feel like if I was alone, it wouldn't have worked. But I was with somebody that I mean, we didn't have a solid relationship at the time, but I knew well enough to trust her. And it worked, man. Like, we drove 80 miles, like I said, and I got out of the car and I felt awesome. And then I went back home, and the next time I tried it, I tried it by myself. I drove by myself 80 miles after that, and it was freaking awesome, dude. And then I got a job. I got a job working at this place, and then we got a house together, and now I have this job and this house and a relationship, and I have money in my bank account, and I go get food for myself. I go grocery shopping. That's still hard, I have to admit. Like, it was easy for a while, but I feel Agora kind of creeping back up on me sometimes, so I have to keep myself in check. But, you know, a good way that to get over that grocery store fear is to just kind of take it, like, really slow. You go in there, stand by the exit for a while, maybe take a few more steps in. If you feel anxious, go back to the exit, go back outside, or just go in there and go stand by the aisle that you need to go down, and wait until you're ready. If you gotta, like, kind of hurry down the aisle, grab what you need, run back to the exit, do it. You can spend 3 hours in the grocery store getting what you need. And if it takes you that long, then, well, who cares? You know, like, nobody's gonna be staring at you like, what is this guy doing? Everybody's so focused on what they're doing. Even the store employees, they're not gonna care. You can spend 8 hours in the grocery store. It doesn't matter, however long it takes you to get your food. So, and I have a doctor's appointment I have to go to this week, and I'm nervous about that. But, like, I'm just going to go in there and tell them, hey, man, I have anxiety. I have this thing called agoraphobia. If I freak out and have to leave right now in a minute, I'm sorry, but that's just who I am. And you know what? 100% of the time I've ever told someone that, they say, hey, that's fine. Just let me know what we can do. If you have to leave, don't worry about it. Come back another time. You know, we build this thing in our head, like, if, you know, people are going to judge me, like, I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to make a mistake and it's not going to be okay. Or I'm going to go out and have a panic attack and die, or I'm going to go out and I'm going to faint, or I'm going to go out and shit myself or throw up. And you know what, man? Who cares? That might happen. You know, maybe it will happen, but I guarantee you it probably won't, you know. It probably won't. 9 out of 10 times, you're not gonna shit yourself in public. You're not gonna throw up in public. You're not gonna die. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball or anything. We're all gonna die someday, but you're probably not gonna die if you go out to the grocery store tomorrow. So it's just like, you kind of have to get through your head that, like, I know how it is. I can remember being in that mindset of I might not ever be able to leave the house ever again. But I did. And I think you can too. We can beat this shit, you know? We can manage this shit. It's very manageable. But you gotta work at it, dude. It takes fucking energy. But once you get over this little hump, the hump of, oh shit, like, I can do this. Like, I can get, like, I just did that. Like I just went out to the grocery store and got my stuff and came back home, and now I'm home, and now I have food, and I didn't have to ask my dad or my sister or my mom to go get it for me. Like, I did that shit. Like you can celebrate, you know, like, you don't, once you get over that hump of like, oh shit, like, I did that. and it was such a small, stupid task. Like, I went to a doctor's appointment. Like, who cares? People go to the doctor's appointment every day. But you know what? You should care, because that's a big fucking deal. Because I know how hard that can be to get to that point. So what I'm trying to say is, once you get over that little hump, you start to realize, oh man, like, I can do this. Like, I can get back out there. I can like, maybe get a job again, and like maybe meet some people, and really like kind of prosper, and start to just really enjoy like the environment and nature. Like, nature's so beautiful, man. Like, just going out and laying in the woods. A lot of people find that really scary, but it's really great, and I hope you can get back out there soon. If you have any questions or need anything or need anybody to talk to, hit me up, because I'm here for you, and I understand. I mean, I wasn't homebound for 30 years, but I was homebound long enough, and I know what it's like. There's one more thing I wanted to say is, like, I have agoraphobia and anxiety and depression, but I know I also kind of have social anxiety too, because it's really hard for me to like talk to people. I never used to be like that, I used to be like pretty social and stuff, and I still am. Like, I still am social, and I want to be social, but sometimes I have to like cut a conversation and just say, hey, like, I can't talk anymore. I gotta go and like do whatever, because I never really tell people this, but it's because I'm panicking. I start to like not even remember what they're saying. I can't even keep track of the conversation and where it's been going, and I kind of just, because all I'm thinking about is I'm panicking. Don't panic, don't freak out, just keep listening, keep nodding, you get into that, like, I don't even know what this conversation's about anymore, and all I can focus on is myself. So there's this, when you have mental illness, there are so many things that can be tied into, whether it's bipolar, OCD, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia. Like, there's so many different kinds of, and then once you find one illness, like one mental illness, like, it started with depression, but all along I had anxiety too. We just kind of didn't really know it until I was 14 or 15, and then ADHD. And so once you have one mental illness, you start to maybe discover some other things about yourself. But it's good, it's good. That's fine. You have to, like, you have to be accepting of it, and there's nothing wrong with you as who you are as a human. Like, you are gonna be okay, and as long as you just keep moving, we gotta keep moving, and keep doing what's best for you, and keep doing everything you can to stay healthy. Reach out if you need help. You can reach out to me. I didn't want to make this video this long, but here we are. So I hope you enjoyed my story, and I hope that this helps you. All right, cheers.